The facts of the game are very simple. Things are changing. If you don't believe that, look around, folks. I mean, we're seeing less and less 1004 work, more and more desktop work. You've got to make the decision whether or not you're going to be involved in that. You've got to make the decision, if you're not going to be involved in that, where you are going to be involved. Does that mean less work? Does that mean different types of work? I am absolutely optimistic. Haven't said this enough about the future. I am absolutely convinced that the future is bright for appraisers. Yes, bright, not dim.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast, helping appraisers increase their efficiency, quality, and make more money. Here's the guy who makes it his life's mission to create value for real estate appraisers nationwide. Your host and the Appraiser Coach, Dustin Harris.
And welcome back to the program, everybody. Dustin Harris hanging out in the podcast chair. I want to deal with a question that's on the minds of lots of appraisers lately, unfortunately. But I've got some solutions for you today. And I don't say that tongue-in-cheek. I mean that realistically. I do have some solutions for you to the question of, what if I hate my job? What if I hate being an appraiser? What next? I want to pause here and remind you that we are sponsored by Alamode Software. Alamode, of course, is the ability to be able to utilize their tools inside the software to help you to be more efficient, more effective, and have a higher quality product. You can call them at 800 Alamode or pick up the computer and type in www.alamode.com. Datamaster will also help to save 30 to 60 minutes per report. Why? Because it does the work for you, folks. Check them out. Go to datamasterusa.com. Again, it's datamasterusa.com. Finally, we're sponsored by Working RE Magazine. Folks, if you want to know what's going on in the appraisal world, if you want to find some great CE or some great education, jump on workingre.com right now. Again, it's www.workingre.com. All right, folks, it's a changing atmosphere right now with appraisals. Lots of changes. Specifically, I'm talking about residential lending appraisals. Okay, if you're an AMC individual, if you are an appraiser that does a lot of work through the AMC world, your world is changing. There is no question about that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, as my dad used to say. It just is. That's the facts of the game. Things are changing, and there's a lot of disgruntled appraisers out there, frankly. I talk to them on a pretty regular basis, and disgruntled's maybe the wrong word for the people that I talk to. I do coaching for appraisers, and a lot of them are coming to me because, hey, they see the writing on the wall. They're not stupid. They see what's going on. They see the changes in the industry, and they are looking for advice on what to do, on what processes they need to put into place, what business models they might need to change in order to be viable into the future. And guess what, folks? That is a question that I highly recommend that you ask yourself if you haven't already. In fact, I wouldn't just call it a question you ask yourself, because that's quite flippant. I would spend some serious time sitting down without your phone, without your significant other, without your children, without the internet on. I'm talking about time away from any distractions, really contemplating what it is that you want going into the future. If you have not taken the time to do that, made the time to do that in the last, 18 months, folks, I would highly recommend that you do so. Because the facts of the game are very simple. Things are changing. If you don't believe that, look around, folks. I mean, we're seeing less and less 1004 work, more and more desktop work. You've got to make the decision whether or not you're going to be involved in that. You've got to make the decision, if you're not going to be involved in that, where you are going to be involved. Does that mean less work? Does that mean different types of work? I am absolutely optimistic. Haven't said this enough about the future. I am absolutely convinced that the future is bright for appraisers. Yes, bright, not dim. I struggle. In fact, I'll be honest with you, Mark, I love you, buddy, but sometimes I have to turn off Facebook for a while. And 100% Appraisers, it's an awesome group. There's several other groups out there that are great for good information, but sometimes the negativity is just too much and I have to turn it off. And there's a lot of it out there. And I think that's kind of natural. With change happening, appraisers are going to be negative. They're going to see the half empty glass rather than the half full. It can be a struggle. It can be a struggle. And guess what? There's a lot of appraisers out there that hate their job. They do. And some of those appraisers, let's just be honest, some of those appraisers have hated their job from the beginning. And yeah, they may be into this 30 plus years, but they hated their job the day they started. They hated it 10 years, 20 years, and now 30 years into it, they hate it. They can't stand it. They don't like it. They wish their lives were different. Now, let's break that down for just a little bit, because the fact is some people are going to hate their job no matter what their job is. That's a universal truth. There are some people that are simply negative. They don't see the positive in anything, but I'm not talking about those people today, okay? Because the solutions that I have, and I do have some solutions, by the way. The title of this podcast today is 3 Choices When You Hate Being an Appraiser, okay? I'm going to give you some choices. I'm going to give you some real, actual, not tongue-in-cheek, but actual solutions to that problem. And one of them, you're going to think that I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but I'm not. I'm being dead serious. Look at my face. It's deadpan right now. Okay? So stay tuned. I want to tell you what those solutions are, but I want to pause here first and remind you, we are sponsored by 3 great companies, Working RE being one of them. Folks, Working RE is a great place to go if you want to find out what's going on in the appraisal industry. Now, some of you don't care. That's okay. There's other reasons to go to Working RE. It's not just about the news. It's not just about the great articles, but they've got some CE there. They've got some past articles. They've got some webinars, lots of information. If you've not been there, folks, I would highly recommend that you do. Just check them out. Pause the podcast right now. Jump on the computer, type in www.workingre.com, and spend about 5 minutes perusing the site. I think you'll be surprised what's there. I think you'll be happy with what's there, and I think you'll sign up for the free newsletter that comes out on a regular basis from Working RE. These are updates on what's happening to your industry, the appraisal industry. It's at workingre.com, workingre.com. While you're on the internet, check out datamasterusa.com and find out why they will save you 30 to 60 minutes per report. Now, Datamaster's been out there a long time, and lots of people are using it. But right now, exciting news rolling across the country is Datamaster 6. Folks, Datamaster 6, Datamaster, I don't know what you want to call it, 1.0, 2.0, was phenomenal. Datamaster 6 blows the first Datamaster out of the water. Where Datamaster 1 is more data entry, and yes, it saves you 30 to 60 minutes report, Datamaster 6 allows you to get into the Tier 3 side of things. Where Datamaster 1 and 2 were kind of, Tier 1 and Tier 2, data entry, Datamaster 6 will help you analyze and help you complete a lot of that appraisal before you even get into the software. Datamasterusa.com is where you need to go to find out more. Again, it's datamasterusa.com. Speaking of the software, if you're not using a la mode, you should be. Why? Well, because the appraiser coach uses it, right? But it's bigger than that. There's a reason I use it, folks. I use it because they are the best out there. I saw something online just recently, and somebody was complaining and saying, is there any other choice out there? A la mode is just so big. Well, folks, there's a reason they're big. They're big because it works. And many people got on that commentary on the thread and said, yeah, I don't like everything about a la mode, but I'm going to keep using them because they're still the best out there. Folks, they are the best out there. They care about appraisers, and they want you to succeed. Check them out. Go to alamode.com, or you can pick up the phone. Call them. They're very friendly. They'll talk to you. They'll share with you some of the features that we talk about here on the podcast. And if they don't convince you, I don't know what will. It's total, and you can find them at alamode.com or 800-ALAMODE. All right, folks, we are back. We are talking about what to do if you hate your job. Folks, let's just face it. Let's put it on the table. Many appraisers hate their job, okay? I'm sad about that. I really do love my job. I really do. I love appraising. I always have. I consider myself very, very blessed and very, very lucky to be able to do what I do. Actually, I don't like the word lucky. Lucky seems like it was completely unplanned, but I designed this. I had a choice to be a teacher. In fact, I did it for 5 years while I was appraising. I made a choice to stop teaching in a school setting and to focus my time efforts in appraisal. And then I went back to teaching as a coach. And so I got the best of both worlds. I really do love the idea that there's a service out there that's needed, folks, and we can provide it. People want to know what the value of their home is. And let's just put lending aside for just a second, because I know there's a lot of negative there, right? We've been called a speed bump on the road of the lending process, which is a sad commentary, right? People that will say that type of thing don't understand what we do. But let's put that aside for just a second, and let's just, from an understanding of what it is that we do for the consumer, help understand what that is. And what that is, folks, is people have a desire to know what this huge asset that they live in is worth. On any given day, somebody wants to know what their home is worth, whether they're trying to make financial decisions or whether they're just curious. They want to know what their value is. And let's face it, Zillow sucks. Yeah, I said it. Sue me. Zillow sucks. It's garbage in, garbage out. And I don't care what statistics they tout out there about how accurate they are. They're just not. And I've been through the process several times. In fact, there's a blog on my website. You can check it out. Just type in the word Zillow and you'll see my experiment that I went through. Anecdotal, not scientific. But I have no doubt that Zillow sucks. And so part of this process is helping our clients, are the consumers out there, understand, specifically non-lender, why it's important that they get a true valuation professional to do the work that needs to be done. Well, I digress. I do love what I do, but some of you don't. Now, it's probably not those of you listening to this podcast. This podcast is all about how to make your business better. It's all about how to help business owners to be more efficient, more effective at what they do. And let's face it, those that hate their job, though that might be a driving factor, it won't keep you here. You might listen to a few episodes, but if you hate your job, you hate your job, and you're not going to be here, okay? But for the few of you that might be, I've got some solutions. I really do. These are real choices that you have if you hate your job. Let's start with number one. Jim Collins wrote a book years ago called Good to Great. If you've not read it, you have got to read it. It is a classic business leadership book. Folks, let me repeat that. Jim Collins, Good to Great. If you've not read it, what the hell are you waiting for? Folks, get it. Get it on Audible. Read it. It's one that I've read and reread. Okay? It's not the best book in the whole world, but it may be on my top 10 as far as nonfiction leadership business books go. Definitely on my top 10. One of the analogies that Jim Collins uses in that book is the bus. And the bus is your business, right? And there's many seats on that bus. And Jim says, get the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus. These are your employees and contractors, by the way. Right people on the bus, wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats on the bus. Sometimes your seat is 3 rows back on the left side. And sometimes your seat is 5 rows back on the right side. You've got to find the right seat on the bus, not just for your employees, folks. This analogy applies to you as the business owner as well. It's not just about getting your contractors and your employees on the right seats. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I hired a person a couple of years ago. It hasn't been quite that long ago, less than a couple of years ago, between a year and 2 years ago. And I was fully convinced that this person was a customer service agent. That's why I hired her. That's what she had done in the past. She did really well in the interview. She did really well on the phones. Put her in that seat, and it didn't last very long. She hated it. I don't know if she has a phobia of the phones or just doesn't like it in general. I don't know. It doesn't matter. She didn't thrive in that seat. Okay. Not that she couldn't do the job. Everybody in my office is cross-trained, and she can answer the phones if she needs to. But several months ago, I changed seats for her. I moved, instead of firing her, instead of reducing her hours, instead of doing some of the other tools in the toolbox that we as business owners have, I simply moved her to a different seat. And instead of doing customer service, she now not exclusively, mostly 90% of the time, she's in the research and data entry side of things. She is much happier there. And she's told me, this is where I'm comfortable. Put me in a cubicle. Not that she has a cubicle, but just hypothetically, right? Rhetorically, that's the word I'm looking for. Put me in a cubicle, put me in front of 3 screens, and I'm a happy camper. Okay? Now, that would bore the hell out of me. I'm sorry, I would not last 2 days in that role, but that's where she thrives. So guess what? That's her seat on the bus. Coincidentally, I hired another individual that I thought was more of a data entry person, and she's now my office manager and customer service. And she thrives at that. She loves the business. She loves air traffic control, keeping appraisals moving, keeping appraisers moving, scheduling, keeping AMCs happy, updating people, just keeping the wheels moving. That is her forte. And guess what? That's where she needs to be on the bus. Well, folks, guess what? This analogy that Jim Collins put out there also applies to you, the business owner. So number one, if you hate being an appraiser, number one, your first choice is to get into a different seat. My guess is that you don't hate every aspect of being an appraiser. For example, maybe you're an introvert and you don't like doing the inspection. Maybe that's you. Okay. Well, Dustin, I got to do the inspection. My clients require it. Okay, then get different clients. Yeah, I'm serious. Dustin, it's not that easy. I never said it was easy, but it's also possible. If your clients don't allow someone else to do the inspection and you hate doing the inspection, you can continue to hate your job, or you can get in a different seat. Now, I actually kind of enjoy the inspection side of things. The only thing I dislike about it is that I'm physically tied to the geography. But that's the seat I currently reside in because I enjoy it, and I have the types of clients that want me for the most part out there. Now, I have many clients, and I've been shifting my business over the last 2.5 years to more and more clients that allow others to do inspections. So I'm doing less and less inspections because I want to do more and more coaching and teaching. But that's beside the point. The point is if you would rather sit me in front of a computer choosing comps, making adjustments, and doing reconciliation, I can do that. I actually don't mind it. I really don't. But it's not my favorite thing in the world. If you broke the appraisal process down into a internal bifurcated product, okay, when I say internal, I mean in the office, which, by the way, we've run that business model for years. Bifurcated products are not new in appraisal precision. We've been doing it for years and years and years. Sending trainees out to do an inspection, they bring the data back, and maybe a more skilled and more experienced appraiser will do the other side. But if you broke that process down into inspection and write-up, okay, if you made it that simple, and it's not that simple, but for purposes of explanation, I would rather be in the inspection side. That's a better seat on the bus for me. So solution number one, very simple. If you don't like let's just use the word hate, right? If you hate being an appraiser, choice number one is get in a different seat. All right. Choice number two. This is the one that you are going to think is I'm being facetious, but I'm absolutely serious. Choice number two, if you hate being an appraiser, is to quit. Well, Dustin, it's not that easy. What do you want me to do? Just go out and get another job? Yeah. I mean, you're right. It's not that easy. I never said it was easy. But there have been a handful, actually less than a handful, of coaching clients that over the years, as they've met with me one-on-one, and I've listened to their story, and I've listened to their issues, and I've listened to their goals and their aspirations and their visions, at the end of the process, I said, you want my advice? You paid for time with me, right? You really want my advice? You really want me to tell you where we're at? Okay, I'll tell you. my suggestion, my recommendation is that you quit, that you go find something else. And guess what? Some of them have, and they are much happier people. It is a choice. It is not an easy choice. I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm not trying to say it's as simple as, okay, fine, I'll quit and do something else. Depending on what that something else is, it may be very difficult. You may have to go back to school. You may have to take a huge financial cut for a period of time before you can build something else back up. This may be a very, very, very big thing. But it is a choice. Choice number 2, if you hate being an appraiser, oh, Dustin, I don't have a choice. You have a choice. You can quit. Now, I wouldn't say do it tomorrow. I would say plan ahead. And I've helped people coach them how to move industries, but it is possible. That's choice number 2. If you really, really, really hate this industry and you really, really, really hate where it's going, you can quit. And choice number 3 is going to be obvious. You can do nothing. You can keep the status quo. You can probably, like many people do, it's unfortunate, but it's true, you can keep doing what you're doing and hate it from now until you retire or die. That is a choice. Not a choice I would recommend. You only get one life, folks. They did a study years ago of hospice patients. So these are people that are on their deathbed. And if I remember correctly, it was over 2,000. I mean, the scientific sample was huge for a social experiment. To interview 2,000 plus people is a huge undertaking. And I'm doing this off of memory, so don't quote me. But when they were asked what their biggest regret was, most people think it was not spending enough time with their family. That actually was number 2, if I remember correctly. Number 1 was doing what everyone else around you expected you to do, not living your own life. Isn't that powerful? Think about that. Do you want to get to your deathbed and look back and say, gee, I never really did what I wanted to do? Folks, if you really do hate appraising, there's room to move on. There's other opportunities. Don't wait till it's too late. Well, Dustin, I'm already 50. It's too... No, it's not. It's not. George Bush Sr. went skydiving on his 81st birthday, okay? It's never too late for anything. Well, folks, that's it. If you hate your job, you got 3 choices. Now, there's a lot of sub-choices in there. You know, you could redesign. For example, part of getting in a different seat might be to redesign your business. Maybe you're fine with appraisal, but you hate AMCs, right? Then stop working for AMCs. That's also getting in a different seat. You're redesigning your business model so that you're more non-lender or you're more direct lending. Great. Good for you. And by the way, I can help you do that. But that's also part of getting in it. It's a subset, if you will. It's under the same umbrella of getting in a different seat. So in summary, folks, if you hate your job, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you. I love my job. I really do. Yes, there's some problems. Yes, there's some struggles. Yes, there are days that I hate being an appraiser. Yes. There are days when I'm like, why the hell am I doing this? I have those days too. You've probably heard me talk about the 82% rule. Okay? The 82% rule is that I better like my job. I better enjoy what I'm doing. I better find that I'm successful at least 82% of the time. That leaves me 18% of the time that I can hate my job. Okay? But if 82 out of 100 days I wake up and go, okay, sweet, I'm going to work today. I've got 5 inspections today. This is going to be a good day. If 82% of the time I'm doing that, then I'm okay hating my job the other days when it's raining outside or snowing outside. And I think, really? I got to go outside in that? Oh, I hate my job today. I give you permission 18% of the time to hate your job. But if you are hating your job more than 18% of the time, you need to consider one of these 3 options. What are the options again? Number 1, get in a different seat. Number 2, quit. Number 3, keep the status quo. Folks, if you really do hate your job and you want to improve the seats on your bus, I hope you will join me at the Appraiser Academy. Not only do you get full access to the All-Star team, which includes my monthly newsletter, which includes access to me and private Facebook groups that are not negative, but you also have an opportunity to meet with me and other appraisers live and interactive on your computer once a month. You can find it on my website, theappraisercoach.com/memberships.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.